Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Edwards. I know many of you, and for for the rest of you who don't know me, you might know my counterpart, Casey, who is trying to get into the room right now. We know how technology works sometimes, and we love and hate it. So you may see him pop up in a few minutes. But if not, I am here to chat with you all, and I'm also joined by my wonderful colleague, Megan, who is going to also introduce herself a little bit later as we start working through the webinar. But thank you so much for joining us today. I'm looking through the attendees and seeing so many familiar names here. I know it is a Friday afternoon, so we appreciate your time before you head into the weekend. And we have some really fun and great products to show you today. So we are going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. I am also joined today by my puppy who's sitting right next to me, so I will do my best to keep him quiet, but I think we all love some puppy noises once in a while. So I apologize in advance if you do hear him. He is quite young and he is on his best behavior at the moment. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, so I should be sharing right now. Can I just get a thumbs up that you're seeing this? Awesome. Okay. So this should look really familiar to everyone here, right? So this is after your students or you have logged into West Academic and you're seeing our main page here. And so you're seeing a number of widgets on my screen that you might not see at yours yet. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is really our product of the hour, I think. And that is the ALI collection. So you might not see this widget here yet, but once you subscribe to this, you will see this widget pop up on your screen. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to jump into ALI. We're going to explore it a little bit. And if you have questions, please feel free to put those right in the chat, and we'll answer them throughout and answer some at the end as well. Okay, so ALI, so as you know from reading our many emails, we have partnered with the American Law Institute to provide you with the ALI collection as part of a study aid subscription. It is an add-on to the subscription, and I'm happy to chat with anyone after this call. We'll be sending out an email, but you can also email us as well to chat about how to add the ALI collection to your subscription. So what do we have as part of the ALI collection? So we have model penal codes, we have principles of law, the restatements, and the tentative drafts. And so we are going to look at how you and your students will be able to access these and what information that you have available. So like I said, there's a few different ways to access this information. The easiest way is probably directly through this widget right on the front. So you see here, we have the ALI collection down here. But there's also a few other ways, right? So if you want to click on content type, you will see ALI collection here under content type. Under series, you have the breakdown of all the series. And then we're going to talk about the global search bar as well and how to access the information there. So we're going to jump right in and we're going to click on ALI collection. And once we see that, we're seeing all of the ALI collection that we have available on this page. Now, everything is not up here quite yet, but we are loading this really quickly. Our team is working really hard to get all the information up on the site. I think yesterday when I jumped in, it was like 86. Today it's 95. So they are working really hard to get all of this information up here. I think our goal is about mid-March to have all the tentative drafts fully loaded. So you will see this number rise as you're going through. But I am able to see all of this collection here right from this screen. I probably am not going to want to go down and search through all of these to find what I'm looking for. So we do have some filters that you're able to use. So if I want to find something that's just dealing with contracts, I'm going to click on contracts here. And you'll see that we have everything with contracts. So restatements here, I'm able to filter down that way. Another way to filter from this screen is to go to series, which is the same way as you're filtering up here. So just two different ways to get to the different series. So if I just want to see the principles of law, I can click on the principles of law here. So I'm able to also look at series and subjects, so I can filter down by series and subjects at one time. So different ways to kind of search through here to get to the content that you're looking for. And let's take a look at what this looks like on the screen. Okay, so first we're looking at principles of law. And again, this should seem really familiar to you, and that's on purpose, right? So we want to make sure that we have this up here in a way that is very familiar to you and your students. So how am I accessing this principles of law? I can go to browse books. So as you know, as you're looking at any of the series or any of the books currently in study aids, the default is going to be to browse book, right? So when I'm looking at browse book, I'm looking at the truncated table of contents here. If I click on any of these arrows, I'm able to kind of narrow down to see what I'm looking for. I can also search in book like you normally would. If there's a certain term that you're looking for, you can click on search in book. And then, I can come through here and browse. So if I browse through and I want to, look at this principle, I'm clicking in here and you're seeing your standard HTML version of the book. This is great if you want to control F, if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can view it here, right? But what's really great about this is that you're also able to open this up in eReader. So now I'm going to see what the principles of law looks like in our e-reader, which is VitalSource. I feel like most of you already know that as well. I mean, clearly I've already been in here, right? So I can see my highlights from earlier. I can see my notes from earlier. But all the things that we love about VitalSource and viewing things in VitalSource, we can do with AOI as well. So if I want to highlight this, I can click here. I can highlight it in our groovy green or mellow yellow. You get to take your pick. So I'm going to highlight that. Maybe I make a little note. I think my earlier note was high, so it's a really substantive note that I gave myself for later. So I can add a note in here. And there's other additional features. So you can copy something. If you click look up in Wikipedia, it's going to bring you to a Wikipedia page about whatever the terms are that you have highlighted. You can create a flashcard right from here, right? So create a flashcard for later. And then also audio. So I can click read aloud from here and we're going to hear the audio version of this. I'm not going to do that because it's going to talk over me. And like most lawyers, I would rather hear myself talk. Just kidding. So all the different features that you know and love from VitalSource, you're able to see. And the really great thing about this as well is this is how it looks in the books, right? So I know that there's always a concern that the students aren't seeing things as they're seeing it in the books. That is what you're going to get here from AOI. This is how it looks in the books. This is how they're going to see it on the website. So it's a little peek of what this looks like. So we just went through principles. Let's jump back here for a second. Let's go back up to our global search, right? So all of the ALI series are also tagged with the same taxonomy as the study aids collection, which means that your students can search right from that search bar. And I know searching, especially as 1Ls or students who are just jumping into law school, might be a little bit difficult and they have to kind of figure it out, right? So really easy way for them to come up here to the global search bar and click on search. I just typed in contracts, right? So very, very broad term. But if I scroll down here, we're also going to see AOI collection here as well. And if you are wondering what that taxonomy looks like, just a little refresher, if you click on 1L subjects and then go in all subjects, this is our taxonomy. Lastly, let me just show you one more thing. Let's go through the restatements. And this is, again, something that I think is pretty familiar to you. But I just want to take a little peek. So you have your book description here. So all the information about the book itself. So we have our subjects, there's our taxonomy, a publication, there's a description here, which is where the authors are going to be of this book. So anything that you want to know about the book is going to be here in the book description. And then as always, if you look down below, you're going to see different titles that you can look through that relate to this. So that was just a little overview and a sneak peek at ALI collection. If you have any questions about it, again, please put those in the chat and we're happy to answer those. And we're also happy to work with you one-on-one to look through this. I think right now I'm going to hand off to Megan, and then you may possibly see me again in a few minutes.
Great, thanks, Jessica. All right. So hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you all. My name is Megan Putler. I am the Director for Learning and Instruction for Law School Curriculum here at West Academic and Barbary. And this call is one of the most fun, I think, because I have librarians close to my heart. I also come from the librarian world, so I'm very happy to be here chatting with all of you here today. So I'm going to share a couple of newer things on the Study Aids platform that your students would probably be interested in, and just walk through kind of what those look like, where to find them. But before I do, I see we do have a question in the Q&A, Jessica. Let's see. And I'll let you, Jessica, type in answers to those while we kind of keep on chugging along here. They look like they are ALI specific. So keep an eye on the Q&A for those. But for now, let me go ahead and share my screen, which is going to look a whole heck of a lot like Jessica's did. Jessica, can you give me a thumbs up if you see my screen? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about two different things, and I'm going to start with what we see right here on the front page of my Study Aids collection, which is Cold Call Companion. And what this is essentially a tool that is designed to help students prepare for class and hopefully not have that white noise deer in the headlights moment when they hear their name called and have to engage with their professor about whatever case it is they may be studying. So we put together a set of these. As a starting point, we have 60 cases available within this collection, and they're all sort of the big cases that come from those core 1L classes. Over time, we do want to expand this out, but we started with those big ones because the 1Ls are probably going to be the students that want to use this most frequently. And in looking at our case books, we were able to determine which cases appear most frequently amongst the most case books in order to kind of pick this first cohort of cases. So let me click in and give you a feel for what is here. So when I click into the collection, excuse me, you'll see you can choose which class you're interested in. So we've got the main 6 here: Civ Pro, Con Law, Contracts, Criminal Law, Property, and Torts. So if I decide to look at torts, once I click in, I can see the cases that are available. And like I said, we have 60 of these, and that means 10 in each of these topics. So most of these probably look pretty familiar to most of you. So when a student is searching for these, they can browse into it just the way I did, or they can use the global search bar, and this stuff will come back in those search results. So they can put in the case names or even the citations right up here and get to specific cases that way. So let's get into it so you can actually see what the heck it is we created. So if I want to choose one of my cases here, let's see, which one do I like? I like Summers v. Tice. Let's click launch, and that's going to launch our cold call companion. And there's a lot of stuff here. I'll walk you through the different components. So we begin with our header here, just the case name citation, and then get into the meat of it. So one thing we wanted to make sure was to let students know that there is still a lot of value, and it's very important to be reading the cases in your casebook and attempting to do your own case briefing. There's a lot of merit in the learning behind that. So we do have this little click here first piece at the top of every single one of these. And in it, we're just giving students a little bit of a guide here on the importance of reading and briefing. And then if they need some help with that, if they're feeling stuck, we have links to some of the academic success titles that exist on the Study Aids platform, so they can jump right into these. So perhaps I want to hear what our friend Andrew McClurg says about case briefing. I can just click on that link, and it's going to take me right to that chapter in his book, 1L of a Ride, and I can read through this to help me think about briefing cases. So that's going to be something you see throughout this cold call companion, is lots of little links to take you back into the underlying content. So we have all of this information here at the beginning, but really what students want are the real meat of the case brief and all the good stuff here. So what we've included are sort of a statement of the case here up top. We've got a quote from the judge, and we, as frequently as we could, include an image of the judge. It's kind of a fun way to give some historical context. So if you're looking at a painting, you know this is probably a pretty old case versus maybe a more recent photo. And then we have a animated case brief. And these are really summarizing the case, but more than just summarizing facts, it will start to talk a little bit about the analysis and the points of law in the case as well. So I think students are really going to enjoy this. I'll hit play and you can get a feel for the animation. I don't think I've shared my audio with you, so don't worry about that at the moment. But when you have a chance, take a look at these. They're a lot of fun. You can see the different styles of animation as we click through and just help students get a feel for each case. Below that is the text. Oops.
Summers Court.
There we go. Below that is the text of the case brief itself. This is actually from our High Court Case Summaries series. So this is content that exists already on the Study Aids platform, but available now in this format for students, so they can read through that brief. And then if they want to go back to that full High Court Case Summary title to see other cases, I have a link for them right here. The case vocabulary, that comes straight from that high court as well. So just serving it up for students in a way that's a little bit more accessible. And then we have two new sections, and we worked with some faculty to create these. And the idea is to give your students a little bit of an inside baseball look into what might come up during that class discussion. So this prepping for class discussion section gives perhaps some questions that the professor might ask, or some different points that are likely to be part of that main discussion, so they feel a little bit more prepared for that moment they might get called on. And then below that, we have this see the forest, not just the trees. And this is often just providing some color in the background to help students understand what is going on in a case. There's real people involved here. There's real facts, there's real industries, et cetera, at stake in a lot of these cases. And it's easy for that to feel not real as you're reading through your case book. So we've provided some different things for these cases to help students get a feel for what was really going on or what's going on in the background. So in this instance, it was about quail hunting. So we've got some info there. Then back to some substance. So we do have a test your knowledge section, and this is taking a multiple choice question from one of our study aids resources, most commonly ExamPros, but there are other things in here as well, depending on the subject, and give students a chance to check their knowledge on the points of law that the case dealt with. So we have the question and the answers here. I can interact with it right here on the page. Oops, I should have studied more in torts, shucks. But here we are with the explanation then, and once again, a link to then the book this question came from if students want to check out more multiple choice questions. And then finally, the last section is really sort of a path to what it is they should be doing next. Like Jessica alluded to, there's a lot of content on the Study Aids platform, and it can be a little overwhelming, especially for 1Ls, when they're still trying to figure out what are these different series, or maybe just wrestling with the vocabulary on what it is they want to search for. So this is sort of a curated list of things that are related to the case that this cold call is dealing with, that will point them into other materials depending on what it is they know, which is what they want to do next. So maybe they want to listen to some audios, which is going to segue me into my next topic here in a moment. Maybe they want more reference materials. We have some of that here, or they want to try to test their knowledge by doing some more practice problems. We have some stuff laid out that way. And also these little hotspots will give a student some detail of what each of these things are, so they can make an informed decision on whether or not they want to interact with that content. And then there's that link to take you right back into it. So that is what we have here within this cold call companion. A lot of good stuff, and it's really just intended to help students find the information they want based on something that they know concretely, which is the cases that they're studying each day. So in terms of audios, like I mentioned, Jessica and I were actually talking just before the webinar, and we did get some interesting statistics from our team that of this past fall's usage here on the Study Aids platform, our two main audio series, that would be the Law School Legends and Sum and Substance, the audio lectures, have the highest usage of any content here on the Study Aids platform. So this is stuff that your students are very much interested in interacting with. I hear a lot that students like to have that available when they're commuting, if they're working out, they just like to listen perhaps when they're at home. It's a nice way to get a break from all the reading. So they're really into that content. So if you're talking with your students and they want to get their hands on it, the couple of ways to get there. I would say the easiest way would be maybe by content type. You see we've got audio lectures listed here, and that'll take you into a full list of those audios. Or you can choose series. And if you want to point them to one or the other, there's that Law School Legends, like I mentioned, or there's the Sum and Substance. And when you click into these, this experience should be pretty familiar. You'll see the list of titles that we have, and we have a lot of coverage here. There's a lot of content available, different authors providing their perspectives. And when we click into one of these titles, then you get your track list. So students can find really whatever they want, listen to these. There's an audio app that makes working with these a little bit easier. So a lot of good fodder between Sum and Substance and Law School Legends, and a newer series that I'll show you here in a moment. The two original series are really A to Z coverage of a topic, but with the new series that we've created, which is this Office Hours series right here, this is more of a tough topics discussion. So the idea behind Office Hours was we wanted to sort of capture that light bulb moment that students have when they come see their professor, or they come talk to you in the library saying, gosh, I have a question, I don't understand this. I need some help. Please explain this to me. So when we have somebody that's really great at explaining any of these tricky topics in these courses, and students say, oh, that's what we really wanted to capture with these audios. So within each of these, we have, again, a track list, and you'll notice that these are much shorter, but they're getting after those questions that these particular authors note come up pretty frequently. Every semester, students come asking, I don't get this. So they sort of curated their list of topics based on that sort of experience. So it's a nice way for students to get maybe a deeper or a different explanation of some of the things that are commonly confusing. So students are really liking these. I would definitely take a chance to recommend it and give them a chance to look through these, as well as those longer form Law School Legends and Sum and Substance. So with that, Jessica, I'm actually going to pass it back to you and give you a chance to talk about the roadmap.
Yeah, well, take it away. Also, just to take one step further on one of Megan's points with the apps. If you haven't seen the apps, they're really great, right? And I have instructions that I can provide to you all on that you can provide to your students on how to access the apps. But we have the audio app, which is really great and a great way for your students to take things on the go, as well as the VitalSource app. So students are able to also take books on the go. So two different apps that are really on the rise. And like Megan said, the Office Hours is definitely on the rise. We are seeing more and more students access the Office Hours, and they're loving it. And the audio apps have really just taken off. So thank you, Megan. That was excellent. So I'm going to talk about, before I jump into the roadmap, there is one other series I'm just going to chat about briefly, only because I've had a lot of student questions about it this fall. And so anytime we can get ahead of student questions, I think we all want to do that. And that is ExamPro. So you might have seen or heard a lot of questions about ExamPro. Your students are definitely using it. And they're using it as they're preparing for their exams, obviously, ExamPro. So just wanted to go over ExamPro again, just really quickly, and point that out, as I think it's going to be a resource you're going to hear about quite a bit. So I just typed ExamPro up here. Again, you can filter these based on the subjects, and just look at property, or just look at whatever subject that you're looking for, to make it a little bit easier than searching through 300 plus results on ExamPro. But we are seeing a lot of students with this launch questions. Right. So it's just a different way for them to be able to access the questions here. So if they're, I guess log back in. If they are in their subscription, they're able to actually launch their questions in a little bit of a different style. I do just want to make sure this is something that came up quite a bit. If your students are accessing the subscription on campus, they might have to jump off campus and create their own account, right? To be able to access this. So you might have some questions about launching the questions and not being able to launch questions. If you do have that come up, just talk to students about creating their own account and being able to launch questions that way. And that might be the little snag that they're running into. This is a really great resource as students are preparing for a midterm or a final. It's providing multiple choice questions for students, as well as an answer key, but the answer key also provides explanations. So a great resource for your students. And I know you've heard your students talk about this quite a bit, and probably quite a bit in the fall. So the other thing that I'm going to talk about is 1L roadmap. I'm just loving this page and all the colors and really all the visuals that are on it. So the 1L roadmap, we find this here, and we launched this last summer before orientation. And so this is just a really great resource for you and a really great resource for your students. And why do I say that? Because as your students are jumping into the study aids collection, there's so many resources here, right? And so many great resources. And I think that one of the questions that your students are going to ask is, well, what do I use and when, right? And they're constantly running into wanting to use different resources, but not really knowing what resource to use until they get into it, until they're looking through the different resources, or coming to you and asking you, right? And so this is a really great resource for you to be able to provide to them, to show them along the way what resources they should use. And this is a student-facing resource, so your students can jump in here too, and really be able to navigate the study aids collection on their own, and really use a lot of the series and use study aids throughout their first semester. So this is really meant for students as they're entering the first semester, but it's definitely something that they can use after the first semester, right? So as they're heading into a new semester, they can kind of start towards the beginning, maybe not what to expect in law school necessarily, but there are different ways for them to use this with figuring it out and outlining and exam prep as they're navigating through their semester, as they're navigating through their year. And it's very interactive. So, for students before they even enter law school, they can click on what to expect. And so we're going to provide them information about entering law school, fear factor, a fun one. If they click on any of these resources, we do the search for them, right? So we make it as easy as we possibly can. Not only do we do the search, but we're bringing them right to the chapter or right to the section that we think that they should be reading, based on, the top 5 law student worries, right? So everything is linked out, makes it really easy for students to navigate. At the end here, we're looking at all the academic success titles again. So what we did for them is we just did the search, right? So this is going to bring them to all the academic success titles that are really helpful for them as they're entering law school. And we navigate all the way through. So taking our little car through this roadmap here, we have our first day of classes. So a number of resources here for first day of classes. Figuring it out, that actually drops down and goes course specific. So click on any subject again, it's us doing that search for them. So looking at civil procedure, here's some really great resources for civil procedure if you're figuring it out, right? And so this will link over to audio resources and book resources and all the different resources students are using throughout the semester to really figure it out. And then we have outlining and exam prep. Exam prep, we're going to send them back to the exam pro series, which we just discussed, and also have the acing series here as well. Just below that, we have some 1L must reads. We know how much time that the 1Ls have in addition to all their classes and getting started. So we provided some must reads for them, and they kind of jump through here and take a look at those different resources. A lot of those are already embedded up here in their roadmap. All right, so I think that is everything that we're looking at showing you today. Let me stop sharing. And let's see if we have any questions that come through that we haven't already answered. So we'll just give you a few moments here before we wrap up. Okay, not seeing any additional questions. So I know we answered a number of them live as we were going through. So thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate your time today. We're giving you a little bit of time back in your day, which I'm sure everyone always loves. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. You will get a follow-up email from us. So we are going to share this recording with you. Yes, you can see the puppy. I'll show him. Just kidding. He is still behaving. I don't know how. I gave him about a half a bag of snacks. That is how. So thank you so much. We'll follow up. We will be sharing this webinar, and we will be reaching out. So you will get an email from either myself or from Casey with this information. But please feel free to reach out to us at any point if you have any questions. We love talking with you all, and we love to meet with you all and discuss all the fun things that we discussed today and more. Let me unblur my background. That's a little blurry. All right. This is my big boy. This is Macaroon. He's just shy of 5 months. He's being very, very well behaved at the moment, but that is not the norm. So, yes. All right.
When he makes cameos on our meetings, it's always the best day.
Cameos quite a bit,
Uh-huh.
because he's being shy. All right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been great, and we appreciate you coming on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Have a great weekend. Thanks all.